Hi, it's Chris from Driver Training Limited here. In today's video, if you're learning to drive in Telford, if you're going to take your driving test in Telford, or you just drive around Telford, we're going to help you to understand the traffic junction in Wellington known as the Cock Hotel Lights. Now, over the years, this has been the scene of different accidents and collisions. By understanding why it seems so difficult, and more importantly, how we deal with the different aspects, then it will make your driving lessons better, your driving test less stressful, and also just driving around, you'll be more confident in doing the Cock Hotel Lights in Wellington. So quite rightly, many ask them, so why does it cause so many problems? And the reason for that may actually surprise you. It's because there's 3 different traffic controls. So depending on the direction you're coming from, you'll either have filter lights, which are the arrows, traffic lights, which is the normal green lights, but on top of that, you've also got give way junctions. So as you approach from both directions, if you go to the left, that section of road over the white line is a give way, so it's not controlled by traffic lights. And also the same coming from the opposite direction, you see the broken white line, which shows that's a separate road, and you can see at the side there, it's actually another give way. So far you've got filter lights for straight ahead and right. You've got give way for turning left. So if you come down, even if the lights are on red and you're turning left, you're turning before the light. So it's just a case of if it's clear to go, you can go. And then you have the other directions, which are controlled by normal traffic lights. Now, the fact that these are normal traffic lights means that both sets of traffic go at the same time. So you can see there's actually 3 different types of traffic control in one. And that's why sometimes it becomes very complicated and people aren't sure what to do. So let's explain them. So let's first of all deal with filter lights. So as you approach the lights at the Cock Hotel, the first thing that you need to do is deal with the keep clear boxes on the floor. Sometimes those become a distraction. And of course, because people are looking at that, they often forget to look at what the traffic lights are that they're approaching. But as we approach now, having kept out of those keep clear boxes, we can look down at the traffic lights in front of us and we can see that they're filter lights. So can you see the arrow is saying if you're going straight ahead, you can go, but if you're turning right, you need to stop. So we can go through safely. Now, filter lights are designed to let specific flows of traffic go. So, for instance, it lets straight ahead and straight ahead go. Then it changes to allow the traffic going right and right to go. And that way it keeps the traffic flows separate and is designed that there's not going to be one mad rush into the middle of the junction. As we approach this time, we can see that those filter lights this time say that the right side can go, but those going straight ahead can't. Now, what often happens is people don't actually look at the lights to decide what they're saying. They just see a green light and think, great, I can go. And the trouble with that is if someone's turning like they should be, you're actually going on a red traffic light. So rather than see the green out the corner of your eye, actually look at what the green light says. Does it say straight ahead? In this case, yes, we can see it does say straight ahead. So we know that's for us. Therefore, we can go. Now as we come down, this time we want to turn right, coming from Telford College and Tesco Way. So again, we look at the traffic lights, we can see the arrow says anybody going right can go, straight ahead can't. So we're able to carry on round. Now, although in principle, those cars shouldn't be moving, as we've said, you need to be aware that not everybody knows how to deal with filter lights. So always look and think, well, what if something is coming? So we can see if we look at straight ahead. So when approaching the traffic lights, either from the Telford football ground way or Wellington Cricket Club, the M54 Junction 7, look at the lights. Make sure, do they point straight ahead? Have they changed? Does the arrow now point right? That's what tells you whether it's safe to go or not, depending on the direction that you're traveling in. But don't just out the corner of your eye think, oh, it's a green light, I can go. That's what causes the problem. So then let's now deal with the opposite way on the Dorley Road, coming from Dorley or coming from what used to be New College. Now as we approach the traffic lights, we can see that the traffic lights are actually standard green ones. They're not the arrows. So that means traffic from both directions go at the same time. So the problem that sometimes occurs here is that people are so used to using these lights with the filter lights that they think, oh, I know I can turn right and nothing's going to be coming. Well, this time the lights are different, so the way you actually deal with the junction is different. Remember, if you're turning right, this is just a normal right turn. So you have to come slowly into the middle and look for a safe gap to go, like we've got now, and then go. You can't presume that the traffic coming from the other direction isn't going to be moving, because that only happens on filter lights, not on traffic lights. So as we come down, we're looking ahead. This time there is a car turning in front of us. But what we're doing is not just looking at the first car, but the second car behind him. We can see that car can fit through the gap. So it's better to sit there, wait, let the car go, because we know that car's going to come through. Now, one of the biggest faults on driving tests is when they turn and they cause a driver to hit the brakes or swerve. And this is one of the major reasons for it. It's not just looking at the car in front, but thinking, can the car behind, if there is one, or the vehicle behind, get past them? We know, for instance, if that was a motorbike, it would already be coming through. So the key to dealing with these junctions is to look at the second or third vehicle and try and assess what they're doing, not just the vehicle that's in front of you. Now, let's look at approaching that junction coming down from Lawley and Dorley. This way is often a little bit harder because the traffic from Wellington, from what was New College, is often heavier. So it's more of a waiting game. So we can see the van in front go. So we've got to come up into the middle of the junction. And now we either need to wait for a suitable gap or for the lights to change. Because you're already in the center of the junction, if the lights change, there's not a problem. You just can't go past the red light on approach to the junction. So now we can see it's a heavier flow of traffic, but if we look down the road, we can see just behind that final vehicle, there's a nice big gap for us to go into. So we just sit there and wait. It's often a little harder because if you've got a car coming from the opposite way to turn right, like we just showed in the previous video clip, that blocks a lot of your view. So sometimes the only thing you can do is sit there and wait till the lights change to provide that gap for you. The other issue you can face when you're coming down Millbank towards Alston is that if you're going straight ahead, the road opposite is kind of at a slight angle. And of course, there's no centre road markings. So, one of the problems that's created is vehicles turning right don't really know the correct place to pull up because it is hard to judge. And the same with going straight ahead. Very often, people can head just straight across rather than allow room for cars in the opposite direction. So then once you've dealt with the cars turning right, what you're faced with on the left there is that give way junction that we mentioned earlier. And again, sometimes people coming up to that just think that they can go because they've seen the light on red. And the danger is they can just pull out without thinking, hang on, it's a give way junction. I wonder if there's anything to give way to. So let's have a look at an example of that. We can see here the taxi on the right and the vehicle coming down on the left. Added to that, can you see in the background the vehicle approaching the give way junction? So here, because the taxi is going to cross the path of the car on the left, the taxi should wait for the grey car to go past him. The car in the background coming up to the give way line should also give way to the car from the left. So let's see how this works out. So in this instance, because all three drivers know what to do and know how to handle this junction, it passes off safely and nobody gives anybody else a cause for concern. So in summary then, the way we deal with the Cock Hotel Lights safely is if you're on normal traffic lights, be aware of any other vehicles, look for safe gaps, then proceed. If you're coming down and you can see there are filter lights, specific directions, look at where that arrow is saying to go. Is it for going right? Is it for going straight ahead? And remember, with the filter lights, not everybody may know how to deal with filter lights correctly. So just use caution and see what's going on before you decide whether it's safe to go. So my name's Chris from Driver Training Limited. We hope this video has helped you understand the Telford Cock Hotel traffic light junction. If it has, please feel free to leave us a comment, let us know what you think. And if you've liked this, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more useful hints and tips. My name's Chris from Driver Training Limited. Remember, drive safely, keep well, and we'll see you all again in our next video.